So you made headlines with what you had to say to Yahoo Sports after getting eliminated in the conference semifinals by the Bucks, saying this. We'll pull up that full screen here, and I will read to you. Coach Brad Stevens was in a tough position, one of the toughest positions, dealing with all these guys with attitudes, all that bleep, all the things weren't fair to me, but it's not about me. That's why I don't expletive and complain. I don't give an expletive what nobody say. I sacrifice the most out of anybody. I'm a top point guard in this league. I feel like it's a fresh start, whether I'm here or whether I'm gone.
Well, that's a whole lot of you said just then.
Yeah, I said what I said.
Let me ask you this, Terry. What went wrong with the Celtics this year?
I feel like, from the beginning, obviously we had big goals, and a lot of people had big goals for us, and the first 5 games of the season, you just seen things go downhill from the beginning. I feel like we wasn't playing like how we wanted to. The game plan wasn't. We didn't go out there and execute the game plan how we wanted to. So I feel like we had to make adjustments. We had to change the lineup, and then we just couldn't get things right ever since then.
Let's go back to the quote. What exactly is it that you did sacrifice, in your words?
I sacrificed, obviously my talent, I think the most. Me being out there and giving my full style of play, how I play, how Terry Rozier play. I feel like I couldn't be that person this year.
And why do you feel you couldn't be that person?
Just obviously in the shadow of some guys. I feel like a lot of the ball was in either Kyrie or Gordon Hayward's hand most of the time. So I feel like, either Terry Rozier was just in the corner or, just on the bench.
Because going into the season, we saw what happened when those guys weren't there last year, went to the Eastern Conference Finals in a weaker Eastern Conference. Right. And you were playing more as a team. And going into this season, the question was, how are they going to integrate these 2 big pieces? Hayward and Kyrie. We've been arguing on this show what went wrong this year. Both contributed. But he has singled out Gordon Hayward as being the guy who the people had hurt feelings. This is like the coach's pet kind of guy. And I've singled out Kyrie Irving, a ball-dominant guy who the team doesn't seem to play for the same way as when he wasn't on the court. So when you say guys and you mention by name Kyrie and Gordon Hayward,
yeah.
But which one of those 2 are you talking about?
Well, so when my name first get called, I'm out there with Kyrie Irving for a little bit of half of my minutes. So, I'm really not being my position. I'm not being Terry Rozier because I have to adjust to how Kyrie plays. And then when, Kyrie goes out, Gordon Hayward comes in, and I feel like his usage is super high. So a lot of things are getting called from him. A lot of plays get called from him. So that's pretty much.
So it's both of them. Equally, would you say?
This is for me. I'm not saying what goes on for the team, why we wasn't successful for the team. I'm just talking about me. And like I said in my quote, I don't complain. That's not me. But, that's just what it is. It's the truth.
How difficult was it for you to play the way that you played and to lead this team the way that you led them last year in the postseason without Kyrie and Gordon Hayward, to then come into this season and not only have to obviously return to a reserve role, but to basically, as you would say, really sacrifice your game in what amounts to essentially a contract year for you? I'm not talking about now, as you reflect on it. I'm talking about at the beginning of this season, when you realized the magnitude of the sacrifice you were going to have to make. How did you feel? What were the kind of things you said to a Brad Stevens or a Danny Ainge?
Well, I like to add that things was all good before we actually started. I still had the positive mindset that, we was going to make it work. But, ever since that day that Kyrie, announced in front of the fans that if we would like to have him back, he would come back, things I feel like shifted left for me. And I just seen the way people treated me with the attitudes, and I feel like I was just thrown all the way in the back seat. And, I just had to adjust to that. And, I talked to Brad multiple times. I talked to guys multiple times, but I just feel like it was just nothing that nobody.
Whose attitudes, when you say that in the quote and you say it now, like whose attitudes are you speaking about? Your coach or what teammates?
Attitudes like what?
Because you basically said I'm dealing with all these types of attitudes, and you just said it right now.
I feel like every team deal with different type of attitude. You playing with guys that's getting paid so much money, as in Gordon Hayward. You're dealing
Over
with,
$30 million.
You're dealing with Kyrie Irving, who everybody knows about, who's nice. Then you got guys like me, JT, Jaylen Brown. So you know, it's everybody attitude, not just those guys. Myself. And it wasn't easy for Coach because you got guys that want to be the man, guys that is the man. You got guys that's already paid. You got guys that want to get paid. So that wasn't easy. This was the most talented team I ever played on.
Right, and it didn't work out. No one feels sorry for Brad Stevens not being able to figure it out. You got all that talent. Stephen A. has brought up Gordon Hayward. As I said, I've focused on Kyrie because it's supposed to be his team. He was supposed to be the leader of the team. He's won a championship. He wanted his own team. He got to Boston. You guys are loaded. How much do you think the negative result ultimately, you were a good team but not a great one, how much is a result of Kyrie? How much is a result of the young guys, yourself included, but obviously you mentioned Tatum and you mentioned Jaylen Brown, not adjusting yourselves properly to Kyrie? Or is it a Gordon Hayward issue?
I feel like it's a little bit of both, and I feel like that along with the coaches, you know, them treating Gordon and Kyrie, I wouldn't say different than everybody else, but you know, I feel like they just treat them like they was on that level where there were no adjustments that could be made because they are who they are, and you know, we never figured it out. We never figured it out after that.